survivor. I will survive, I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. Will forever shine just to stay alive. That simple means say nobody can hold me back. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can control me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me back. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness. Show me a lion power. Strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. Strength. No weakness. Show me a lion power. Everybody strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. Not when you're old. Your enemies they must tremble. Your enemies they must tremble. Yo, not when you're old. Everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. I'm a go-getter. I just go hard, I just go hard. And I'm a kind of fella. Put my trust in God, put my trust in God. That simple means say, nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can control me sick. I will not allow negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can. Yo, just show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lion power. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Yeah, you gotta be firm in this time, son.
Right along, welcome to the ride, guys. Welcome to welcome to Wednesday on the ride. Yeah, how you doing? Hey, Doris, how you doing? Veronica, Frederick, how you doing? Hey, Doug, my friend. How you doing, my friend? Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys for watching. Janelle, Andrew, how you doing? And everybody watching. Cassandra, sorry. Eglinton, I see you as well. Guys, as you come in, just share up the program and say, I share. We have a bit of a breaking news for you before we start the program. We just heard a little bit before showtime, before we came on, there were a suicide, alleged suicide that occurred in the General Hospital in Grenada, and that is developing story right now. I could tell you the latest that we know, and it is the Ministry of Health just released this press release saying that they confirmed the death of an elderly man under tragic circumstance, and that occurred just a little while ago. The Ministry of Health confirmed the death of a 74-year-old man who died of tragic circumstances, as they said, at General Hospital. The St. Patrick resident had been a patient at the hospital since November 24th. So it is confirmed, a breaking news story that we brought to you a little bit earlier today on the tragic circumstance. And a lot of people are, listen, this, I'm not going to blame it on a specific thing, but we've been seeing an increase in suicide, an increase in homicide, certainly an increase in deaths over this past few months. People are very stressed out, guys. People are going crazy over what has been happening. People are just, man, listen, we just need a intervention. I don't know what intervention, but we've seen suicide on the increase, both elderly and in the young teenagers. We've seen a lot of that. We've seen an increase in robberies and crimes. It's just a burst of crazy happening about the place, guys. And this is the latest one that just occurred. Now, again, breaking news. This is from the General Hospital. The Ministry of Health is saying that the elderly gentleman, a 74-year-old man, was in hospital from November the 24th. And even before the story broke, we found out that the man somehow jumped from the back veranda of the General Hospital. We don't know the full complete circumstance. We don't know what was his diagnosis. We don't know what was the exact reason or cause of the incident, of what happened, but that what transpired. So it brings me back to say, guys, we as people in this world, and we see what's happening with people. People are locked up and people are just frustrated. Take this time to pick up the phone and call your neighbor, speak to a family, speak to a friend, because I can't tell you how much times over the past month that we had to almost win people off a cliff. People are that. I remember just last week I was speaking to a young man and he felt like nothing was going right for him and he was about to go and take someone's life because he was just so frustrated and stressed. And I had to basically talk the man down the ledge, calm him down, and just have him put his mind on a straight path. We have to sometimes, we as individuals, people are losing their rational mind. We sometimes have to make that call and see how we could help people, because it is tragic out there. It is tragic. It is tragic. It's very, very sad. Again, we're just getting this breaking news, confirmation of death. Happened a little bit before we came on here. The St. Patrick resident, patient of the hospital since November the 24th, confirmed death. We have some visual, we have some pictures, but it's not going to be shared on social media. It was a gruesome sight. And the nurses and some patients that actually saw this are right now, they would need therapy, because it was so bloody, it was so horrific. It's just a whole set of crazy. It's just a whole set of crazy. And I just wanted to bring that up to speed with you guys. We're going to give a latest a development on a video I'll post after the program to give you guys even more details about what transpired here today. All right. Thanks for everyone on the ground in Grenada and all over that for providing us with this updated news and information. So with that said, craziness happening, madness happening, a lot of things that is just insane happening. That's a horrible transition to bring in my next. That's horrible, though. That's horrible. It's sad that I have to bring you in on under that premise, talking about crazy and madness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But are you though? Are you really sorry?
No, I'm not. No, it's good. It's a good transition. It's a good transition. It's a good transition. You gotta admit. You gotta admit that it's a good transition.
It was.
Thank you so much, Contessa. Guys, let's welcome my guest, Contessa. Now, I gotta tell you that my producer, Lois JJ, is one of the hardest working person in the business. Lois JJ put me in contact with this lady here, and from the moment I started to speak to her, I couldn't stop asking her questions. Now, Contessa right here is diagnosed in being a sociopath, right? Some people say, what? That's sociopath? What the hell? Junior, you're speaking to a crazy woman? You don't have better things to do? People told me that, actually. You don't have no better things to do?
Oh, my feelings are hurt.
No, you're not. No, come on, stop. Someone said to me, you don't have better things to do with your day? You're going to bring a sociopath on? What the hell is wrong with you? I said, yeah, we're going to bring her on because I want to hear her story. You diagnosed, you are a sociopath. Before we get into that, I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Before we get into the core conversation.
My name is Contessa. I am, I have my hands in a lot of things. I'm an entrepreneur. I tell my story all over the place. Funny thing about me, even though I'm a sociopath, I love making people laugh. Like if you like, soda, Coke out your nose, I love to do that.
So you kind of like a sociopath that cares.
Yeah. Nah, I wouldn't necessarily say care, but
Okay.
I find people entertaining.
Okay, all right. So what the hell is a sociopath?
Well, a sociopath and a psychopath are actually outdated terms. They now use the term antisocial personality disorder, and they
Right.
put them both together. And it just means that we have a disregard for people's feelings, a disregard for people's rights, a disregard for your boundaries, lack empathy or have a little bit of empathy. I have a little bit of conscience, like I care, but I care for me. Like the reason why I care has nothing to do with you, it has everything to do with me. I care not to do something to you because I don't want to go to jail.
So explain this to me, right?
Yes,
For
yes.
us, a sociopath. What's the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath?
We have a conscience, they don't. That thing that stops me from doing something horrible, for being a criminal, they don't really have it.
So the only difference between yourself, your personality, and a psychopath personality is that you have a little bit of
I,
conscience.
I have a little bit of conscience, yeah.
Okay. So how were you diagnosed with being a sociopath?
You have to be diagnosed by a mental health professional, usually a psychiatrist. And that's not my only diagnosis.
What are your other diagnoses? What
I
else do you
also diagnosed with autism and ADHD.
attention deficit disorder?
Yes.
So help me explain this. Help me explain this. Because there are so many questions, and I'm sure that my viewers have a lot of questions as well. I'll have them call in and ask. So you don't have empathy for people. You don't feel people's pain. You don't
No.
feel people. But how you mean? How you mean? Like how you mean you don't feel people's pain? Explain
I
that to me.
don't. It's like I just don't feel it. Like if someone is sad, I know that they're sad because I know what the emotion sad is, but I have no feelings for it. I'm indifferent. I really, if you're crying, I really, for the most part, just want you to stop. Just stop crying because you're making a bunch of noise.
Do you understand if someone is laying on the side of the street and they're crying out in pain and you standing there watching them, are you gonna feel empathy for them and say, oh my God, I gotta help them because I could understand the pain that you're going through?
No, but I will help them because I respect the fact that they're a human being and I don't want them to die. So I will help them.
So what part of your consciousness, right, is telling you that, or what part of your consciousness, of your conscience or whatever, is disregarding people's emotion? Like
It's the way that my brain is wired. You know, my brain is just wired differently. For some reason, you know, when God put me together, he forgot to add in the empathy part. He left that on the show.
okay, let's go down a little rabbit hole here. Let's go down a little rabbit hole here. So what about relationship? Because something about that binds a relationship is the fact that you care about the other person's feeling. You actually care because you don't want to hurt the next person. Were you ever in a monogamous relationship? Are you in a
I
monogamous
I
relationship?
tried monogamy. It does not work for me. I was a serial cheater. And so now I practice non-monogamy. So everybody knows what's going on. Every once in a while, I'll have a primary lover. You have to excuse my cat. I
Yes.
have a primary lover, which is the one that I go to most of the time. But everybody knows what's going on. So it's not like I'm lying to them and telling them anything. But relationships, I was married twice and clearly it didn't work out. Divorced twice. Relationships to me are transactional. I'm with you. I'm going to do these things for you, and you're going to do these things for me. And we're going to continue to do these things until we don't want to.
No feelings, no love.
I mean, I feel love, but differently than probably they do. They probably like own this deep, deep love. And I'm like, I love you because I love humans.
So if someone come to you
Mm.
and say, oh my God, I have the biggest headache. Could you please get me something? And they crying, tears coming down the eye. You just look at them like, stop freaking pretending with your goddamn self.
I'll
That's
be
how you.
like, I'll be like, calm down. It's going to be all right. If I can help you, I will. If not, I'll be like, can somebody come and take care of this? But I'm gonna need for you to calm all the way down. Stop all that yelling and nonsense. I'm very straightforward and to the point. I've been called cold-hearted, um, and some other names in relationships. People seem to think that I don't care about them because I don't show love like you probably do. I don't tell them, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with you. I don't get butterflies in my stomach when I see you. It's it's more like an agreement. And I'm like that with my friends, me and my friends. It's an agreement. I'm going to be there for you, which means you can talk to me. You can be yourself. I'm not going to judge you. And you're going to let me be me and not judge me. And that's how we do our friendships.
How do you have no empathy for no one, but still you have friends? Isn't that contradictory? Like,
No, because
friends.
if you study how, because I still have to operate in this world, right?
Right.
And so through therapy, through my spiritual practices, you can mimic how things are supposed to be. It's almost like when I'm out in public, I have to put on an act in order to be around people so I don't intentionally hurt them. It's called masking.
Okay. Lacey G asked the question. What about your family? Do you feel empathy for them?
No, I do not. But so people who are in my inner circle, like my family and my friends, I'm very protective of them, which means that I won't let anybody else hurt them or do anything to them because they're my family.
Right. So being a sociopath, you could very easily be a psychopathic. Well, I'm not putting that on you. I'm just saying, right? So hear me out here. You could pretty much be a psychopathic serial killer.
I could. If I lived in a different house, if I had different parents, if there was different circumstances in my life, I could very well be a serial killer like anyone else could.
No, anyone else can't do that.
Not all serial killers are psychopaths or sociopaths.
Yeah, but hear me out here, because you starting to scare me. Remember, I'm your friend. Okay? I am your friend.
Do I look scary to you?
You don't, but no. A scary person don't have you should be scared of me written on their forehead. All right. A scary person is someone that you can't even tell is scary. Like you have a nice smile and you smiling at me. No, you're getting me scared. I don't know if to be happy or if to like hide my IP address or anything. I don't know.
I don't care enough to come after you. Even if you say something terrible, chances are I'm not going to care enough to look you up and to come to your house. I'm indifferent. Like this is a lovely conversation. I am laughing, and when this is done and over with, I'm gonna go on about my business.
Right. Just remember that I am your friend, and everyone here.
And look, after this, send me your address. We'll go out for coffee or something.
No.
Why? What? You
Oh,
won't go on a
stop
date with
it.
me?
Stop it right there.
Come on. Going on a date with me is fun.
Okay, I'll have them judge this after we finish the conversation. Well, I still want to
Uh,
find out more about you, because
yes, yes.
the reason why I really want to I really wanted to do this interview is because I want to learn. I speak to everyone, right, and it's all about learning different people and different behaviors, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not here promoting and telling someone they should go study how to be a sociopath or a psychopath. This is not the reason and the purpose of the program. Right? I don't, you know, you know, I get flagged for all of these things. The Junior George coming here telling people they should be a psychopath. That is not the meat of the conversation here, right? This is an educational conversation to learn. So, do you choose who? Like, I see you have a cat, and the cat is walking around you. Do you love your cat? Do you love him?
I love them in the way that I love, right? Like again, it's not that deep love. It's like, he's my buddy, he's my friend. I just want to make sure nothing happens to him.
Do you
But
cry?
if he goes out on my balcony and he jumps down, then he belongs to the streets, and I'm just gonna go get another one.
And
I,
that's basically how your life is. That's how you treat life. Like, if this happens.
that's how he wants to be in the camera. That's how I treat my friends. Like if me and you are friends and we fall out, you don't exist to me anymore.
Right. And this is not a learned behavior, by the way. This is
No.
why.
It's just the way my brain is wired. Like you can't go out and decide I'm going to be a sociopath. This is the way that I was created. And I had to learn how to operate in this world the way I'm created. I don't want to purposely hurt people unless I do. Um, but every day I don't get up in the morning and be like, oh, who can I mess with today? Oh, who can I ruin their life today? It's not like that.
But what is stopping you from hurting someone really, really bad?
Two
What
things.
do you have a
Two things.
conscience yet? What is it?
Well, I do have a conscience. It's a very small one. Number one, I don't want to go to jail or to prison because I love being free and, walking around in this world. And number two, I understand that you're supposed to respect and have respect life, right? Like I'm not going to go out and murder somebody because that's illegal and that will send me to prison, which I don't want to do. But do people enrage me? Of course they do. Do people get on my nerves? Of course they do. But you have to get me to that point where I'm violent, because most of the time I'm nonviolent. The way that I operate usually is by manipulation and knowing exactly what button to push to piss you off and make you cry.
Okay, so you are a queen manipulator then. It's sociopath, aka queen manipulator. Like, you could manipulate
Yes,
people
yes.
to get you.
Even in job interviews to me are hilarious. I end up taking over job interviews. I usually end up interviewing them.
And how you end up doing that?
You just take over the conversation. You start asking them questions. Uh, things like that. It's really easy. People will tell you a lot about them by the way that they act in your presence. I have big energy. Big energy. When I walk into the room, you can notice my presence.
Right, right, right. Some Cyrus here, Cyrus Horn is saying, I wonder how you was as a child. Um,
My poor
like,
parents. My
take
poor parents.
you
I,
take
I
a
I
toy
got
and
in trouble a lot as a kid because I didn't like rules and I didn't like to do things that didn't make sense to me. And the bad thing about it is my father was in the military, so he was gone a lot. And so when he came back, he wanted to run the house. And I was like, who are you? Why are you here? Mom's in charge, not you. Because my mother was very, go and be yourself and non-judgmental. And my father was like, rules, 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 rules. And I was not a big fan of rules. It also makes me a really bad employee because I don't do things that doesn't make sense to me. And I will tell you, like, this is stupid. I don't understand why we're doing this. There's a smarter way and a better way to do this. That's why I work for myself.
Right. Let me update you guys if you just started to watch. We're speaking to Contessa here. Contessa is a diagnosed sociopath. And a lot of times, if someone call you a sociopath, you might jump out of your skin and curse back the person. But no, she is a sociopath. She's diagnosed that among other things, right?
Yes.
And she's going to share a little bit more about her personality. Now, during this conversation here, I'm getting messages from someone that said, but everything that she is describing, I know someone who acts just the same. Is sociopath a popular thing? Like some people are sociopath, don't even know it.
It is not. So you can have certain traits. Like many of us have certain traits. Like many of us can be manipulative, right? So you have that trait in you. But in order to be diagnosed, there's a checklist and you have to be so many, have so many check marks in order to be diagnosed. So it's possible to have traits, just like it's possible to have narcissistic traits and not be a narcissist. You can. So yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me just prompt everyone that we open up the phone lines. I want you guys to call in. Because my conversation is your conversation, right? Be respectful, please. But she don't really care anyway. She won't care, but be respectful. Yeah, be respectful. Especially she might track your IP. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm your friend.
Are you?
I'm just saying that.
But
so
you won't go to dinner with me. You won't go to coffee with me. I'm sad.
I listen. I don't want to make you sad. It's just that I don't live in the country. I'm not in the country. I'm most time I'm traveling all over the world. So
travel. I love to travel.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that. After. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Okay.
I'm scared of you. I'm scared of you. Plain and simple. I'm scared of you. All right. I'm scared of you.
There's no reason to be afraid of me. None whatsoever. Unless you're a terrible person, because then you could be afraid of me.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll talk about that after. So we open up the phone line 718-701-5720. She is a sociopath, not to be mistaken for a psychopath. Right? She's here to
correct. That is correct.
She's here to telling us about herself, her life. We can learn about this stuff. So this is your opportunity right here now to call in 718-701-5720 and ask your question again. 718-701-5720. Contessa, while we wait on the call, what are some other misconceptions of sociopaths?
Well, one of them is that we're scary, and we're really not. I'm not scary at all. Some other misconceptions is that we're criminals, we're violent. We are liars. Well, everybody lies every once in a while, right?
Do you find yourself lying more than the regular?
If there is something that I want, then yes, I can lie. It's part of manipulation to get it. Like one of the things that I do, like when I go to an auto shop, right, like auto parts store, and I want to get my windshield wipers, I act like I don't know how to put on windshield wipers and I don't know anything about cars and I need for you to help me. Can you please put them on? And they do.
But that's a trait in most women.
See?
In fact, Contessa, a lot of things that you're explaining here to me today, it sounds like that's a trait in most politicians. Most politicians are sociopaths.
and CEOs. There's a lot of CEOs who may have some psychopathic traits.
Yeah.
You have to think, in order to make $1 billion, what do you have to do to other people?
Yeah, you have to manipulate. Step. Some people you feel like you're stepping on their toes to get where you have to go. There is a level of manipulation in business, and I understand. But you still have some kind of conscience because
A
you.
little, little, very, very, very little.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me some more of the misconceptions of a sociopath.
Let's see, what other misconceptions? That we don't have feelings. That's a huge misconception because I do. I have feelings. One of the questions that someone has actually Googled is, do psychopaths blink? And I was like, my eyes work just fine.
Funny enough, I didn't see you blink. It's like that.
I do blink,
You
but
didn't. I
I, I,
I You didn't blink much, by the way. You didn't blink much. You probably blinked
I
like a
could, I
little.
could, I could wink at you.
Right, wink. Oh Lord, that's a scary wink. That is a real wink right there. That laugh, sociopathic laugh. Okay, go ahead. More misconception.
Let's see. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I can't think of anything else. Oh, and I love my children. People ask me if I love my kids, and yes, I do love my children, but probably not the way that you love your kids. My kids are great. My kids aren't sociopaths. My kids, their brains aren't wired the way mine is. My daughter, she just loves people. She's there for people. She works in the nonprofit field. And so I didn't damage my children by being a sociopath because I read a lot of books on parenting so that I knew how to parent my kids.
So you are a selective psychopath, sociopath then,
That's where the conscience comes in.
with your
That's
kids,
where the conscience comes
with
in.
with your kids.
Yes.
So
With my kids, I have a conscience
how could you have a conscience for your kids and then you don't have a conscience for anyone else?
because my children are my responsibility. Everybody else, they're not.
Your friends are your responsibility, and not your responsibility, but your friends
My
have.
friend, my friends, my close friends, I care about them the way that I care about them, just not the same way that you care about them. I care because if they're not there, then the transaction won't happen. Remember, our relationships are transactional.
Right, right.
I
Do
give
you,
to you, you give to me. So if they're not there, then they're not giving to me.
right. Do you support anything other than like other than what you need for your own self?
Like what? Give me an
Like
example.
charity, organization, helping ministries, church organizations, blah blah blah.
So when I did go to church, I did give to the church because I was really, so most of my life, I tried really hard to be a good person because I knew that something wasn't, I knew that I was different, right? And so I was trying to go to church, trying to be a good Christian, all of that. And Christianity and me just didn't get along at all. So I stopped going to church because every time I went, I just felt bad. And then I started to study spirituality. And in studying spirituality and really getting to know myself, I started to learn to like who I am because I realized that I was created like this for a reason. And I'm going to do whatever it is that I'm supposed to do here on this earth.
Hmm. Is sociopath bigger liars?
It's really easy for me to lie to get what I want.
Hmm.
And sometimes I let people believe lies. Like if somebody says something that's not true about me and I don't really care, I'll let them believe it. Like, if you think I have this type of car and it's like, oh yeah, Contessa has this car, I'm not going to correct you because I don't care.
Hmm. All right, guys, listen. You see what I told you? You see what I told you? they're scared to even call the phone.
I'm not scary. I'm not. Come talk to me.
Guys, listen, I'm going to give you guys another opportunity to call the phone. 718-701-5720. We were talking to Contessa. She is a diagnosed sociopath, right? And she's here telling us her life story. And again, we both are not here saying that you guys should go and study sociopathism. By the way, there is nothing like that. I just made that up. I
You
just,
did. You did.
I just completely made that up. It's not.
New word. New
It's not
word.
a institution that you could go and learn this stuff. It was the way how she was born. She just not wired to have empathy for people. That is just how she is, right? It's not
Yes.
something that she studied or she just feel like she should be like that. From since she was a little girl, she always never had empathy. She don't feel the pain that if you feel in a pain and you are genuinely in pain, she cannot transfer that feeling and feel the pain that you're feeling and feel the empathy and cry for you. You probably never watch a movie and cried.
I cry at the dumbest things. It's the sad music. I'm just like, oh, the music's so sad. But what's going on the TV screen? I don't know. But
But hold
there is
up,
sad music.
but hold up.
I have feelings.
But I think I have a breakthrough here.
Oh, okay. I'm listening. What you got?
Music make you cry.
Music can make me cry.
How is that? Let's go deeper into that.
It must be something about the sounds and the way that my body reacts to sounds. I love music. I listen to music all the time. Music invokes emotion in me. People don't.
I think we have a breakthrough. So if music speaks to your consciousness that makes you react positively to emotion, then to break through to you, like if for instance I'm in pain, I could sing you a song.
You
Well,
might be able to sing me.
a, a song.
Can you sing? Are you going to sing me a song now?
I listen. If I sing, you won't like the pain that's gonna happen because there'll be snow and sleet falling on the top of this house. We gotta call the live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi, Judy. I'm calling from Toronto.
Toronto. Go right ahead.
Yes, but Grenadian, of course.
Yeah. Do me a
I'm
favor. Do me a
actually
favor. Do me a
studying
favor. Take me off a speaker and pick the phone up. I'll hear you better.
You hear me better now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm actually studying sociology in Canada at the moment, and
Yeah.
we're actually doing mental disorders and stuff at this time. And the condition that the person actually has right now is something that we're studying, and I just have a few questions for her.
Okay. You know the best thing. You know the best thing. Could you call me directly instead of calling a WhatsApp? Because then she could respond to you. Call me straight on the phone line.
No problem.
All right. So she have a question for you because she's studying. She's a psychologist major, and she have a few questions for you. That would help a lot. She's gonna
I
call.
cannot wait to hear these questions.
I bet you do. I bet you do. This is the breakthrough.
I think it is. It's music. Music is the way to my heart, apparently. I do have a heart. I've been told that my heart was black, but I do have a.
Yeah, yeah. The idea is to get to you is to connect through music.
Music. Yes. That must be why, like, I've been around and dated a lot of musicians. That might be why. It might be the music thing.
Yeah.
See, look. There was a reason why I had to come on.
I
Got a
told
breakthrough.
you. I told you. We're gonna make a breakthrough here. Okay, we gotta call
Yeah.
her. And let me bring her on the phone lines. Call her, you live.
Hi, Judy. I'm calling back.
Okay, good. So she could hear you. I could hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So I just want to talk about, like, first of all, your vaccines, right?
Hold on.
No,
Are you on speaker? Are you on speaker still?
No, I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, like, first of all, when you said that you always felt like you were not normal, right? Now, I was just wanted to know about the conversation. Like, who did you have the conversation with first? Like, I'm not normal. I feel like something's wrong. How did they handle it, and what was wrong?
So I knew at a very young age that I was different. And having conversations with my mom about the things that I was thinking, about the way that I was feeling and interacting with people, she really helped me to understand that it was okay to be different. Um, but yeah, just sometimes you just know that you're different.
Caller, you there? I don't know. Caller, you there?
Yes,
I don't
I
know what that.
hear me.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, caller.
So
What's your other question?
took you to the therapist. So now, as Black people, I'm going to say, we have this stigma around, mad people and visiting therapists, and you should also be strong and those types of things. Now, how did that affect you? The stigma of that affecting you having to actually do it in order to feel better or to get some type of help?
And so I did not seek a therapist until I was older and an adult because of the Black people don't go to therapy thing. We don't tell people what's going on in our house. We're just going to go ahead and let God heal you, things like that. And so when I was going and talking to my parents about my diagnosis and even my friends, a lot of them just was like, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just fine. You don't have that diagnosis. It was really difficult for them to understand who I was because a lot of times, again, I mask. I pretend to be someone else so that I can operate in this world.
Mm, I see. So,
Mhm.
so, so piggyback on that. By all this pretending that you're doing,
It's
are you,
exhausting. It's
is it
exhausting.
happy? Like if you were not to pretend, if you take off that mask, you took off that all that mask right now. Say you were to do it for us right now. What would you actually look like, or what would you actually sound like?
I mean, it's hard to explain, right? So I don't have to in my own home. I don't have to worry about your feelings. I can just be myself. But
Mm-hmm.
when I go out, I have to worry. Like, even if I'm typing an email, if I type an email to somebody, I have to stop, read it, and think, am I going to hurt their feelings if I send this email? And then
Oh,
I'll reword it because I don't want to intentionally hurt your feelings unless I do.
right. Kind of like someone sent you a message and you just like your first thing that comes to you like, who the hell care? That's the
Exactly. I do. I do that. I'm like, I'm like, who the fuck asked you? Then I'm like, no, 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 delete, 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 delete. Don't say that because I need you for something. It's transactional. If I don't need you for something, then I'm going to tell you off because I don't care.
she don't care.
I don't
Call,
care. I'm
caller,
different.
caller, you have another question?
Yes, I wanted to know. So I know the condition deals with not having that chemical balance where you can have certain emotions and certain feelings. Now I wanted to know if that is only linked to person-to-person interaction or if it's person to item or person to environment or person to thing.
I didn't hear the question.
You sung really muffled. I don't know why. You sung really kind of muffled on my end. I thought it was only me. I'm not hearing you too clear at all.
Did you hear my last question?
Yeah,
No,
just
no.
just come again with the question.
Yeah, so I wanted to know because I know that the condition deals with, the chemical balance of not having feelings.
Oh, no. Did we lose her?
Hold on one second, caller. Hold on one second. Caller, hold on one second. Make sure that the caller is feeding into the system that you guys could hear her. Caller, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, you could hear her, right, Contessa?
Yes, I can hear her.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know if the feelings, like the numbness of feelings that you normally have towards person to person, if it also flows somewhere into like person to island, person to animal, person to situation, person to nature, those kind of things.
I don't know why. I don't know why, caller, but your audio is sounding distorted. I don't know if you want to call back on another device, but you're sounding really kind of, not clear at all.
Can she
She like type
something?
something?
All right. All right. So, okay. Yeah, guys, 718-701-5720. We are live here and we're speaking to Contessa. Contessa is a diagnosed sociopath. Again, we want to say that there is a difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. Someone just said in the chat there, do you affiliate yourself with any political party in particular?
No.
Do you let me see how I'll put that so I don't make you feel any kind of way. Do you understand and listen to or find yourself being pulled towards Trump and the
Oh no. Well, no. I'm not a Trump lover. I think he's a jerk.
some
I
people
don't
say
like the way that he treats people. He does not. So the part where I have a conscience and I don't want to hurt people, I don't think he has that.
okay, because some people say sociopaths stick together like glue.
Oh no. Look, there's only 1%, 2% of the entire populations are sociopath. So very little. So even people that you think might have it, they probably don't, because you don't know. You wouldn't know that I have antisocial personality disorder. You don't know that I'm a sociopath until I tell you.
Right. So let's move a little bit to one step ahead. How could someone, what are some of the things that someone could look at or look for to see or to say to themselves or the family or the friend that I think you have certain trait that might be possibly sociopathic behavior? What are some of the things that someone should look for or look
It's the lack of empathy. That is the number one thing that you should look for. Always lying, being manipulative, being selfish, putting themselves first above other people. Sometimes not being able to keep a job, not being able to stay in relationships. Those are some things that may triggers like, hey, you may want to get yourself checked out a little bit. There might be something going on.
Somebody said that's my husband.
There might be something else going on too.
Keep a job, he's always lying. Somebody just said, yeah, that's my husband right there.
Some people are just ashy. They don't have a mental health diagnosis. Some people are just terrible people.
Right. So
they don't have like, their brain is not wired that way. They are choosing to be terrible people.
So they are people who basically adapt the lifestyle that could basically mimic.
Yes, they can adapt a lifestyle that where you may think that they are a sociopath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they're not truly a sociopath. There's something else going on. They're behaving like that because of, some trauma or something else that may have happened in their life that's causing them to behave that way. It's not something that they were born with like me.
If someone that listening to the program right now checked all these boxes that you just said to us, checked all the boxes, they're a goddamn liar. They have no empathy for people. They have no feelings for people. They have all of these things that you just outlined here in the list. They check all the boxes.
They should go see a mental health professional immediately, right now. Call tomorrow.
Lindy Philippi say, I know someone like that. They just don't care.
Don't care.
I know a lot of people like that, by the way. Mm-hmm. But it's nothing specific. I know all of this stuff. These are traits that human beings A lot of
Right,
humans
right,
have those traits.
right.
Sometimes
And the,
we in a drama, we like to get ourselves out of the position. Sometimes that happens, but that don't make you a sociopath. What
it
are they?
doesn't. It doesn't. And so again, you have to meet. You have to. They go through a lot of questions, a lot of questions. You have to see them many times so they can get a full picture of your life, and for them to say yes, you do have this diagnosis. Again, you can't take a blood test. You can't get a brain scan. They have to spend time with you because again, therapy. If I decided I have to have a really strong therapist because I manipulate people. And so I can tell you things that may not be true. And so you have to be able to tell that I am lying to you, which
Right.
sometimes can be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Kibby Grams is asking the question: how do you manage your anger and your rage outbursts?
So I do have fits of rage, and I allow myself to feel what I feel. So I move through it. And this is something I had to learn how to do, how to be angry and then how to bring it back down so I don't cause harm to myself or to anyone else. I also, if I have time, I'm like, you should probably go take a walk right now. I will tell people I'm going to leave. I'm going to end this conversation because you don't want to get me to the point where I'm actually in rage.
Right. That period between when you're very, very upset and being able to rationalize that in your brain, how big is that for you? Could you rationalize situations?
I can, to a point. Again, I can rationalize it right up until the point of rage. And when I rage out, you don't want to be around. I will throw things, I can yell, I can scream, I can kick, I can do all those things. So you don't want to be around when I rage.
That can be healthy for, and you said it. You're not in a like a
Monogamous relationship, no. Mm-mm.
relationship because
I get bored with people easily.
yeah, but that could be problematic. Could you see?
It,
Could you
it,
understand why this could get very problematic?
if you do what I ask, then we won't have any problems.
Why do I always have to do as you ask?
Because you decided you wanted to be in a relationship with me. You chose. You chose to be in a relationship with me. Therefore, you have to deal with how I'm wired because you made that choice.
Right, right. So Kibbs was saying again that sociopath don't even pretend. They would just tell you that they don't care. But you do it to just coexist within the society.
Yes, again, I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot of work. And so when you read the textbook definition, that's someone who has not done any work. They have not gone to therapy. They don't understand who they are. I've I've done a lot of work to understand who I am so that I can exist and not be harmful to people. I don't want to hurt people. I can. I don't want to. And that's where that therapy and my spirituality comes in. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I know how to meditate. I know how to do all of these things so that I can operate in this world without causing harm. But it's work. It's work.
Yeah, yeah. Again, guys, 718-701-5720. It's very interesting, and that is why I like speaking to people to understand, not judge them. Not judge them. Someone say that that's who they are, that's what they do. Um, uh, but understand, speak to them. Do you think that sometimes people are just failing to understand and seeing other people's reality.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of judgment in this world. And that's why I don't mind sharing my story about who I am, because, again, you would not know unless I told you, and you spent a lot of time around me, that I have a mental health diagnosis. There are a lot of people out here walking around with mental health diagnosis who not with mental health issues that are not diagnosed because of judgment, because of, you know, the way that your friends and family may treat you. And so you're going around untreated. Please seek help, go to therapy, talk to someone, because there's no shame in needing help. No shame at all.
Right, right, right. And of course, the $1 trillion question, do you have like a sociopath passport that's associated? You are more likely to scream out fire on a plane or something. You are most likely to do the darnest thing ever. You have a certificate to show, like, yo, listen, guys, I might curse you out, but here you go. This right here says I am a diagnosed sociopath. So just, how did you?
I don't have a medical alert bracelet that says that.
Yeah,
Some people think that I should, but again, I have to care enough about the situation to be enraged. And it's difficult to get me enraged because I have such strong boundaries. And my boundaries are there to protect you.
right, right. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Someone just messaged me. She's saying that, do you lack feeling? Do you lack a lack of feeling only happens when person to person interaction, or is it person to animal, person to things, or item, or person? Um, yeah. So it said, does her lack of feeling only happen with person to person interaction, or is it person to animal or person to things or items?
Um, that's a tough question. I know it's person to person. Um, because of my ADHD, I get bored with things quickly. And so I may start a hobby or a habit, and then 2 days later, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't like that anymore. So I do have a tendency to cycle through things very, very quickly out of boredom or not liking them or not really caring about them. I have a stack of like arts and crafts stuff that I've never done.
Right. Hence the reason why Kibbs was saying it's hard for, and you said it as well, it's hard for you to keep a job. It's hard for you to stay steady. So you most likely, as you said, work for yourself, because
Yes,
you could just do what you do. You can't take on people. You don't want nobody talking to you in any kind of way, because you might just snap back and you're gonna get
right,
fired. You're gonna get
right.
fired, right? You
Absolutely true.
you
Absolutely
can't,
true.
you can't be a judge. You can't be a lawyer, because the reason why you can't be a judge is because you have no empathy. You can't be a
Right,
lawyer because you can't represent them, because you don't understand the feeling of that person, that person might feel that they're going through. You can't be a doctor because you'll be like, what are you talking about? Pain? Grind that pain.
that's not true. That's not true. I could be a surgeon.
To be a surgeon.
Yes, because you're on my table and you're knocked out. And so I don't have to deal with your feelings. I'm just going to do the surgery.
I don't want you to be my surgeon, by the way. I've said it very nicely. Don't be my surgeon. I'll be your friend.
Only my friend, only.
From a
You,
distance.
you
I'm
gonna be my special friend?
your special friend to the end. Chucky. Chucky was a psychopath, by the way. And
Don't the things that are on the movies and in Hollywood, they're
yeah,
always over exaggerating, right? And so if you look at a psychopath or a sociopath in the movies, don't believe all of that stuff. Like I said, not all people who are sociopaths or psychopaths are serial killers. Your next door neighbor could be a sociopath and you would never know.
that's true. That's true. We got another question for you. Are you aware of any triggers, and were they found through the process of therapy, and what method would you put in place? What
And
control?
so, and so things that trigger me would be you continually not, how do I want to say this? You disregard, like if I'm in a workplace and you will not allow me to participate in discussions, you won't let me say my part, you won't let me operate, do my job, those things would trigger me into rage. I had a boss who would come in and rearrange my whole desk. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Don't
So
mess.
don't leave my stuff alone. Leave me alone. If you're purposely trying to trigger me, if you're yelling in my face constantly, if you are disrespecting me constantly, those are triggers. But my boundaries are set up to where I'm going to give you warning. I suggest you don't speak to me like that.
Okay. All right. I got you. I got you. Listen, it's great. It's great hearing your story. As I said, I endorse not blocking people off, not saying I don't want to hear that, I don't want to deal with that, I don't want to be a part of that, I don't want to conversate, nothing like that. I believe the way how we learn about other people is by speaking to them, right? I know my limits, you know your limits, we could understand each other, and that's how we learn. But oftentimes people put that barrier that they're scared to go forward, to talk to people that they deem is different. And we see that from even from homosexuality, people who have different sex ideas of their sexuality. We see that with how people treat disabled people. We see that all the time. But we just need to communicate. We need to talk. We cannot shy away from the elephant in the room. And that's what we do here. We don't we deal with the elephant in the room. Everyone have a story to tell, and I thank you so much for giving us some insight, some information on a sociopath. And I learned a lot. I certainly learned a lot.
Thank
You
you
know,
so much for having me on the show.
it was absolutely amazing. Any last word you want to say before we wrap up?
All I want to say is really spend time to really get to know people before you judge them, because you never know what may be going on up here.
Right, right, right. And hold on, before we go, let me take see if I can get Kanisha a question. Last question. How have you been diagnosed? I guess you just came in with sociopath. Does the sociopath affect your parenting? And if were you concerned with any of your kids being diagnosed with sociopath as well?
I was never concerned about them being diagnosed as a sociopath. My daughter has ADHD and my son is diagnosed with autism, and they don't show any signs of being a sociopath. It did affect my parenting because my daughter um, is very emotional and she needs someone around her to hug her, to give her words of affirmation. And so I had to learn how to parent her in the way that she needed because I did not want to injure her.
Right, right, right. And
Mhm.
I promise you that's the last one. Do you suffer from low self-esteem? And if so, how do you diminish the feelings?
I do not in any way suffer from low self-esteem at all. At all.
Okay, well, I could tell. I could tell. Bright smile, chummy, 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 but don't get her mad. You see that eyes? You see that no blinking thing going on there? You see that? But listen, we could be friends. I have no problem with it. We good. We good. We good. We good. Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad.
So
Mwah. I had a blast.
you have to come back. You have to come back.
I will. I will anytime.
We love to have you back. Thanks again. Keep in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, guys.
You gotta be frank.
Listen, again, a lot of people just jump the gun. I think, and I said this already, and I mean, I'm not blaming anyone who does it, right? But let me tell all you this, right? We cannot hide away, shy away, and put on blinders to things that we somehow feel like we don't understand, right? I think that it's important to have conversations. Hence the reason why from day one we always say everyone have a story to tell. The reason why everyone have a story to tell, because it is true. Everyone have a story to tell. We cannot say, well, we don't want to hear her, we don't want to nothing to do. Listen, I had, if you guys remember the history of the program a few years ago, we had a young man on the program. He was a former, what he was, a former child molester. He was a former child molester. And now he's a priest. Interesting concept, but that's his reality right now. And he explained himself. And after he explained himself, people like, wow. People didn't agree with what he did. He didn't even agree with what he did. He got past it, and right now he's a transformed individual. If we never spoken to him, we would have never understood his story. We wouldn't know what was his triggers. We wouldn't know anything about what his life was like. So I think it's important that we have these conversations. And you're going to continue to hear these conversations. A lot of people don't like it. Some people feel like if it doesn't hit their consciousness, then we are the worst. We are promoting some sort of world dominance on people's mind. I posted a story just the other day. Just the other day. An old show that we had 2 years ago. A woman that came on the program, and this lady, she has multiple husbands. I bring that up to show, I won't say the ignorance of some people. I just gonna say the lack of empathy of some people and understanding of some people. They probably sociopath themselves. Their conclusion was that we are somehow promoting behaviors that goes against the preaching or the teaching of the church or the Bible. And that is exactly precisely what we're not doing. The fact that we bring people on to share their story is because we could all get a broader understanding of the individual, of the person, or of the story. It's not to convert anyone. I'm not telling anyone to go and be a sociopath, a psychopath, or whatever path you want to be. But at the same time, it doesn't. Yeah, my audio is back. You're right. It doesn't mean that we have to block and not see these things in our society. So it's very important. I'm happy. I'm happy that she was here to share her story. I'm happy. And for the person, I wanted to invite this guy who came at me on the program the other day, the clip that I put on there, and he talking about about what we're doing to kids and how we are I'm trying to manipulate the minds of children by having these types of conversation. And he's a priest, by the way. The guy is a priest. The guy is a priest, right? He watched the whole video that had a title, that had a thumbnail, that showed exactly what she was to talk about. He watched this whole clip, and then he came back. And if he didn't like the content, he would not have watched it. But he watched it, and then talk about how the manipulation. It wasn't a pop up and said, put a gun to your head and say, watch this, show it to your kids. No, you watched it. If you show it to your kids or anybody has watched it, they learn from it. It's not promoting homosexuality to people. It's just showing people what is out there. And it's good that we know about it. So this is all I have to say on this, guys. You will continue to see things that makes you feel uncomfortable. Heck, let me tell you something really quickly. I am not in full support of every person that I bring on the program here. But that doesn't mean that I cannot treat them with respect and hear their story. So my audio went off there, but I think it's telling me that I said enough. This is my cue to say good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of our program. We're going to continue to update you guys on the incident that happened earlier today, where an alleged suicide at the General Hospital. We're going to continue to post update on the Ride Along page. Have a good day, guys. Catch you guys tomorrow. It's what's pissing me off, and we have a story tomorrow in what's pissing us off of a young lady who was beaten by her father with a hammer. Beaten by her father with a hammer, and now she's paralyzed. She's trying to find out if she should love her father, if she should find a way she could find love for her father again. She's going to be joining us tomorrow. All right? Catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Same place, same time. Bye-bye.
Get your PCR test in 30 minutes or less. Visit www.allprolab.com.
David Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-38.
Welcome to TD Bank, where you'll find the personalized attention you deserve and the legendary experience you expect. Let's do business. If you are a medical or dental practitioner, contact me to hear about our tailored lending solutions for residential mortgages, equipment purchases, practice-related commercial mortgages and refinance. Visit me at 500 Baychester Avenue to hear more about our full range of personal and small business banking solutions. See you soon.